Welcome to Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by big4accountingfirms.com. This is episode 45. Today we're going to be discussing innovation at the Big Four, and more specifically, innovation at Ernst & Young. Ernst & Young recently announced the opening of an innovation lab in New York. This innovation lab is located in Union Square, right in the heart of Manhattan. It's located on the 8th floor of 841 Broadway, which is on 13th Street in New York. Don't think you can just drop in, though. You probably need to be a priority client of Ernst & Young to get access. Now, E&Y made this announcement on June 21st of 2017, and the purpose of this center is to focus on financial services innovation. And the reason it's focusing on financial services is likely because this is located in New York, the heart of financial services of the world. And the center is also to highlight Ernst & Young's investment in Wavespace. Now, what is Wavespace? Wavespace is a branding term that highlights Ernst & Young's growth and innovation network. And you can see Ernst & Young's press release around Wavespace from March 2017 on their website. Wavespace is also a global network of growth and innovation centers, similar to this one in New York, and is not restricted to only improving accounting functions. It can help clients invest in a number of items, including things like blockchain. Ernst & Young has also invested in strategic alliances to help clients collaborate with other service providers in the space. And what they mean by that is probably typical providers like Oracle, SAP, and Microsoft, in addition to other startups that might be innovating in the blockchain space. Some of the items that will be shown in these innovation centers are things like artificial intelligence, robotics, process automation, also known as RPA, blockchain, data and analytics, digital innovation, innovation and customer experience, and also cybersecurity. Now, there's something common in all those things that you might notice is that they're all sort of the buzzwords going around right now in the media about innovation. Artificial intelligence, things like IBM Watson, robotics, process automation. This is very big in the accounting space right now. Think of things like opening up a bunch of files and analyzing them. Now, you can't necessarily automate all of that, but you can have a robot that pops open a file and fluxes it compared to last year's file so that when you come in the next morning, it's there and ready to go. As you know, in accounting and tax and some of these sleepy businesses like banking, a lot of the people that work in them say, oh, you can't replace what I do. You can't change the way I do things. Well, that's what robotics process automation is supposed to do. It's supposed to show people that a robot can do your job. You just have to program it what to do. More likely than not, you open files the same, you analyze them the same way, you just don't realize it. And a robot can do those same things. And these Wavespace centers that E&Y is showcasing, these are multi-million-dollar investments from Ernst & Young. They didn't do this cheap. And that's why I said before that you most likely need an invitation. You have to be a large client of Ernst & Young that has millions of dollars to spend on solutions. And they are seeking to build 15 of these locations around the world in Americas, Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific regions. These are all the largest regions where Ernst & Young operate. And each center will be tailored to its specific region. For example, in New York, you have this financial services center. And these centers will be amazing. The one in New York will have floor-to-ceiling screens so that you can watch images float across the whole floor. They also have virtual reality headsets, fancy tablets, and all the things that you typically need to sell clients on the future. And some of the solutions that they've tailored for clients that they'll be showing in these Wavespace centers, some of the solutions that are shown in these workspace centers are as follows. They will show 50 blockchain business solutions, including an identity management platform, and they also show an innovation pop-up lab that they built for a financial services client. As part of this release, Ernst & Young started a website essentially called Ernst & Young Magazine, and they put together a sort of online magazine highlighting this innovation center. And on this, they have where the center is located, what's included, some of the innovations on there, but they also have another branding term that they came up with, which is this suit and jeans approach. And they're saying that these suit and jeans industries can collaborate to come up with better innovation solutions. And I guess they consider these Silicon Valley type jobs as the jeans component and the financial services industry as the suits component of their suits and jeans approach. Now that we've covered the Ernst & Young focus, let's talk more broadly about the Big Four in general. You are beginning to see the adoption of these innovation initiatives across all of the accounting firms, and more specifically, innovation around financial services. This is because these accounting firms are in the business of financial services and more focused on, and as far as financial services, they are obviously very focused in the accounting and tax areas. And a lot of these centers are highlighting what is called FinTech. FinTech is short for financial technology, or essentially any technology used in the finance world. And the reason the accounting firms are primarily focused on these initiatives is it can be used to make accounting and tax jobs easier. Since those are what the accounting firms are specialized in, that's mainly what they're focused on. But the technology can also be used for other purposes, including process improvement and automation. And the Big Four have likely ramped up these initiatives in this area because financial institutions like banks and hedge funds are really blazing a trail in this area and investing a lot of money in this area. And the Big Four firms are afraid that they'll get left in the dust. And if they get left in the dust, then they might start losing huge engagements, lose revenue, and they might face significant layoffs. Big Four are built around clients needing a lot of people to complete mundane accounting tasks, or even just a lot of people to complete compliance projects. And you would call those tasks mundane, or they're not very highly skilled. You just need people to analyze something and put it in Excel, or you need somebody to analyze something and put it in Word. And those jobs are the jobs that are going to be replaced by these huge innovation measures. So I think the Big Four are beginning to see that. And that's why you see these investments in innovation and these innovation labs popping up everywhere. And the Big Four have been doing this a little bit in the past. And more specifically, you've seen a large investment in automation in the past few years. And accounts have seen this automation come in. And you've seen it where clients make automated journal entries, automated work papers. The consolidation of ledgers is an automated process. And you've also seen a lot of processes that you never thought would be automated. But technology is now moving past that. People are beginning to invest in things like robotics and machine learning. Robotics, as we said before, it takes processes that aren't necessarily consistent across many different companies, and it essentially automates those through robotic solutions. And these aren't physical robots that we're talking about. This is essentially software that is programmed to be like a robot. For example, it can download all instances of accounting reports that used to take hours, but can now take a few minutes, or it can be left overnight, and the robotics program will have done all the downloading for you. To go further into what the Big Four are doing in this area, you've now seen KPMG with their Ignition Labs and EY with these Wavespace centers invest in physical locations where they will showcase these innovative solutions to their clients. As far as I can tell, PwC and Deloitte do not have comparative physical centers to what KPMG and E&Y have. But since these firms are copycat businesses, I imagine that you will see physical locations pop up for Deloitte and PwC. Now, New York has a significant amount of financial institutions with a lot of money to spend on consulting. So I believe that all the Big Four in New York need these labs, and they will have it. Now, Ernst & Young is in Union Square, and it has a sexy new website to highlight their center, where you can see a bunch of business professionals playing with VR headsets, these huge walls of screens, and it looks very similar to the KPMG Ignition Center. But if you want to see what these Ignition Centers and Innovation Labs look like, make sure to head over to our website, big4accountingfirms.com, and we're going to have the YouTube videos of these innovation centers up there so that you guys can see what they look like. We'll also have more details around these innovation centers. Now, KPMG, their Ignition Centers are in downtown and in New York, in Soho, which makes it a little sexy, right? Because Soho is associated with the fashion industry, design industries. It's where the more hipster liberal crowd is. But now you have this financial services company in KPMG investing in technology. Therefore, they want to get in there with the more fashionable design trends. And they also have a location in Midtown. Now, these locations are, like I said before, where they develop these FinTech solutions and where they also bring humongous clients in and show them what technology is capable of. And in these videos, in the KPMG one, you can see they have sort of a jeans approach too. All of these innovators in their Ignition Lab are all wearing jeans. And I think it's funny that all these Big Four are now adopting this jeans mindset. And PwC was the first one to sort of adopt that into their dress code. And now you see even E&Y having a whole approach called the suit and jeans approach to innovation. Well, that's all we have for today. If you want to learn more about innovation at the Big Four and all that, make sure to subscribe to this podcast, share it with a friend, and also make sure to head over to our website, big4accountingfirms.com. Thanks again.